Hello and welcome to the AffordableTours.com and Globus Italy Travel Show. My name is Rod Fernandez and I am co-president at AffordableTours.com. We would like to thank you for attending today's online event. Today you will learn about the wonderful options to visit Italy from the experts at Globus Vacations. Today's online event exclusive offer will be presented to you at the end of the presentation on a slide, but it will be an additional $50 off per booking from our already low prices on Globus Tours. And of course, as always, you will receive your additional discounts on Globus Tours with AffordableTours.com, including the 10% AffordableTours.com everyday discount. But in order to receive your show special, please mention it to your AffordableTours.com travel consultant when making a booking, and they will be happy to do that for you. We also have a grand prize of a travel certificate that will be awarded to one of today's show participants for a $250 credit towards a Globus tour. And of course, the winner will be announced at the end of the 45-minute presentation. And tonight's presentation will be conducted by Ali from Globus Vacations, who is an expert on these matters. And so I now introduce her, and she will be our presenter for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rod, and welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you joining us here today on the AffordableTours.com special show feature, of course, talking about Italy. And I thought we would start it off tonight by asking you guys a couple of questions. First of all, I'm curious to know how much you all know about Globus. So let's just start there with a basic question. What is your understanding regarding Globus? So I'm going to launch a poll question here. It's really simple for you to vote. Just click on one of the circle options on your screen. Are you a novice? Maybe you're thinking, who or what is Globus? You really aren't sure. Maybe you're a beginner. You've heard of the name. Maybe you're more intermediate, you're familiar with Globus, you've heard of us, you've checked out our itineraries and our tour packages. Maybe you're advanced. You've traveled with us and you could be delivering this presentation here tonight. So again, if you want to just click on a circle, this will give Rod and I an understanding of kind of where everybody lies. And then what we can do is kind of cater some of the material tonight to what your level of understanding is. So looks like a lot of you have already voted. Last chance to vote. I'm going to go ahead and close it up here. And thank you, those of you who participated. We're going to ask you a couple questions throughout. We like to keep these things fun and engaging. So even though we're online, we're going to keep acting like we are in a big room all together doing this online show. So let me go ahead and close it off now. Wow, 26% of you have already traveled with Globus. Thank you. Thank you so much for your continued support and for jumping on to hear even more about what Globus has to offer. Looks like about 19% of you are not familiar with Globus. We'll cover that. Even for those of you who are beginners, we'll make sure that by the end of the session, all of you are going to go up a notch, okay? And then intermediate, you're familiar. Excellent. Looks like a really good population for all of these. All right, my next question to you before we begin is pretty simple. Tell us now, have you ever traveled to Italy? So yes, you have. Maybe yes, you have with Globus. Maybe nope, not yet, but you are interested in visiting Italy one day. Maybe some of you, I don't know how or why you'd be here, but maybe you're just interested in Italy, but you don't plan on traveling there. So I'm not sure which one it is that you happen to be in. But again, go ahead and just click on the circle. Either, yep, you've been to Italy, or yeah, you've been to Italy with Globus, or nope, not yet, but you do want to visit one day. Or you're just here for the show discount. I don't know. So go ahead and cast your vote on the screen. You just click in the circle, really easy to vote. After this, we're going to go ahead and jump and dive right into our presentation. For those of you who are hearing my voice but you cannot yet see your screen, if you do have technical difficulties, we completely understand the frustration there, but please note this is being recorded and you can archive it at any time so that you can capture all of the beautiful pictures that we're going to be showcasing today. And for those of you also who would like to share this presentation with a family member or a friend, we are again recording it. Tomorrow you will receive an email that will say thank you for joining us, and it will receive a link in that email so that you can forward it on if you'd like. Okay, those are all my announcements. We'll go ahead and close it up here and show you guys what everyone had to say. Wow, Rod, look at that. 41% have been to Italy. Well, actually over 50 because the other 13% have been to Italy with Globus, so that's awesome.
That's great.
So nobody said they don't plan on going to Italy, so that's a good sign. You all are in the right place. Okay, so let me go ahead and hide this up here, and we will show you what we're going to cover tonight. Okay, so tonight we're going to be covering, obviously, why travel with Globus. What is Globus? For those of you who said you were more beginners, what is this company called Globus? The other thing that you're going to do is you are going to hear about Italy's portfolio in 2012. We have our brand new Italy and Spain brochure that has just been released a couple of weeks ago. You can receive a copy from affordabletourism.com, and it's going to, we're going to cover a sampling of what's inside the Italy portfolio. We're not going to get to cover every single itinerary, but we're going to give you a good sampling. For those of you who have traveled to Italy, so remember over half of you have already been to Italy, we're going to share with you some kind of hidden treasures of Italy. So these are vacations and itineraries that are excellent for your next trip to Italy. So we've got some wide variety of vacations to offer, and that's what we're going to cover. Rod mentioned that we have some exclusive show specials tonight that will be announced. Globus also has some new promotional savings that we're going to talk about later. And of course, at the end, we're going to do a grand prize drawing where one of you who is attending live is going to receive that $250 bonus travel voucher. So for those of you who are new to travel, let me help you understand what Globus is. Globus is a worldwide leader in escorted travel. In fact, we've been around for more than 80 years. We're going to be celebrating our 85th anniversary coming up here in the next couple of years. But we are a family-run company. And basically, our story started out 80 years ago when Antonio Montagazza, who is in Lugano, Switzerland, decided that he wanted to take some people across the lake in Lugano. And so he had a rowboat. And to get travelers from point A to point B across the lake, he took them by a rowboat, which then led to a motor coach, which has now 80-plus years later expanded into worldwide destinations of escorted travel. What's an escorted tour? That's what Globus offers. Basically, that means if all of us here tonight, well, we'd have to have a couple of motor coaches to fit all of you because we have a lot of participants, but let's say we all wanted to go to Italy. What we would have is we'd have a motor coach with a maximum of 44 guests traveling together. Typical size is about 35 to 40, average tour size. We would have a motor coach. We'd have a driver. They would take us to the must-see sites. And so look at these pictures here on your screen of Italy. We're going to get to taste the cuisine together because we have incredible dining experiences that are included. Plus, you have time on your own to explore the cafes and the restaurants on your own. But again, we take you inside the must-see sites, and you have VIP access. So when we go into the Colosseum here as pictured on your screen, you don't have to wait in line. So if it's June, and literally it's like Disney, right? You've got lines that could take people 2-3 hours to stand in. Not with Globus. You're going to go right inside. We're going to have a local host who is going to be talking about the beautiful Colosseum, giving us the history, where you're literally standing inside this building that was from the year 70, it was 72 to 82 approximately AD. So incredible history that you get to be right up inside. And you hear the stories. The tour directors are absolutely incredible. They're with you on the coach. They're there to handle all of the logistics. Ladies, if you pack a 50-pound bag like me, do you want to cart that thing around? Probably not. But guess what? That's what the coach drivers do. They make sure that all of our luggage, so when we go from point A to point B, they get it on and off the coach. They get it up to our rooms for us. It is such a comfortable way to go. It is like, think about an escorted tour as being a perfectly planned itinerary for you. We scope out where the best hotels are. We scope out the must-see sites. We pack in plenty of time for you to do sightseeing on your own. You can do a little romantic dinner off at a side cafe or something. In fact, really only 20% of the time you're going to be on the motor coach traveling from, point A to B to C, etc. So you've got plenty of time to explore. And again, these fabulous tour directors are going to be bringing the sites to life for you. They're going to be giving you the memorable stories, the colorful characters and details that really help you connect to the past. And I remember I've been to Italy, and our motor coach driver, he was hysterical. His name was Antonio. And our tour director was absolutely precious. She was actually pregnant at the time, in just a couple of months. And she did such a great job of escorting us all around. And they're from the destination. Now, that's something unique with Globus. We use our tour directors and local guides are all from Italy. Now, you might think, well, that's obvious. Why wouldn't they be? But honestly, there are some other tour companies that use Australians. They use Britons, or Great Britons, for their Italy tours. So some use Americans as well. But we like to use the locals, right? If I was coming to your hometown, I would want you to take me around your hometown. Here's one of the included sightseeing features that I got to experience when I was traveling with Globus. This was one of those things that I will absolutely never forget. This was, for me personally, the highlight of my Italian vacation with Globus, and we got to do Chianti wine tasting at the Castle of Verrazzano. It's a home winery, so it's a family-run winery up in the hills of Tuscany. This is a picture when you're up at the winery looking out, and you can see the grounds are absolutely magnificent. I mean, you guys, if you picture Tuscany, this is what you picture. You're at this villa and this home estate, and they give you a tour of the whole winery so you can see the barrels and the vats and learn how the wine is produced. You get to, of course, sample it, and they're going to tell you the difference between Chianti Classico and the Chianti Reserve. Now, I drank a little bit of wine at the time, but I didn't know how to tell the color and the age, and they taught me all that. They taught us, and so it was a private group. We had a private luncheon, so we either do private luncheons for your group or private dinners, just depends on the tour. And so what happens is you all come in and you sit down, and they, after the tour, you come into this dining room and they make a traditional, delicious Italian dinner for you. And then they teach you how to sample the wine. And they put out white tablecloths, and they show you that you tilt the glass slightly over the white linen tablecloth. Did you guys know this? This is how you tell the age of the wine. And you look down in your glass, and it makes like a little fingernail. So picture yourself holding a glass of wine. You're tilting it over a white tablecloth. Look at the outside rim of the wine, and if it has an orangish color, it's aged. If it has a white or a clear color around the edges, it's a younger wine. Who knew? Well, those are the things that you're going to learn on your Globus journey. Now, this wonderful experience is on a couple of the tours in the brochure. So what you want to do, if this sounds like something that's of interest to you as you're looking through the brochure, as you're talking with your AffordableTours.com travel consultant, they can help you pick and choose the itinerary that's right for you. So there are itineraries, of course, where we feature this, like the Italian Treasures 10-day vacation. There's others that have different kinds of experiences. But again, I just wanted to show you one of the highlights that I remember most on my included tour with Globus. So here's a look at what the portfolio is. When you look inside the brochure, you'll see that you have 12 vacations to choose from with Globus. One is brand new, I'm going to tell you about in a moment. And then we also have independent vacation packages. So maybe for those of you who have been to Italy before, or for those of you who are well-traveled and you don't really want to go with a tour director in a group, you kind of like to do things on your own. Well, we have independent vacation packages with monograms where you still have the sightseeing included, your choice of hotels, logistics handled. It's just there's no group. You're traveling independently. Again, we're focusing tonight on Globus, but I just wanted to let you know it is in the brochure, the monograms packages, and of course your AffordableTours.com consultant can answer all of your questions regarding monograms and what that is. And then for those of you who like to travel with your kids or like to travel with your grandchildren, we've got wonderful family vacations. And in our portfolio to Italy, we've got a wonderful itinerary that's called Ciao Italia. I'll tell you more about that itinerary in a little bit. And so what you're going to see is that we also have faith-based vacations. And I'm going to tell you about one in particular, the Grand Catholic Italy. So we've got a lot of different variety that we are going to be showcasing tonight. In fact, did you know, for those of you who have traveled with Globus, you might know this, we have over 400 different vacation packages around the world. Our top-rated vacations, our most popular vacations, 4 out of the top 5 are located in Italy. So you are definitely choosing the right itinerary tonight, or the right presentation to attend tonight if you're looking for an Italy itinerary. So let me tell you a little bit about the new itinerary. For those of you maybe looking to explore Italy for the first time, this is a great introduction to Italy. This is also a nice itinerary for those of you maybe who are looking for something new. A lot of people like to do the new thing. What this itinerary does is it takes a look at the major cities of Italy. So you're going to start in Venice for 2 nights. This is how to read these itineraries with Globus. I'm going to use a highlighter and show you. So do you see here where it says Venice and it's 2 nights green? That is the start city. Down here in red, in Sorrento, is where the tour ends. So green is where it starts, red is where it ends. So you start out in Venice and you do all of your included sightseeing, which I'll tell you about in a little minute. You are going to take a cruise out to the island of Burano, where you're going to get to see the famous glass blowers, and you'll watch a demonstration. It's pretty incredible. And then after your 2 nights in Venice, you'll travel south. You'll do a stop in Modena. You'll continue on south with an overnight in Florence through the gorgeous hills of Tuscany, and you'll spend a wonderful night in the beautiful Renaissance area of Siena. It's another Tuscan town that overlooks. You kind of stay up in the hills overlooking the city. It's absolutely beautiful, very popular destination. And then we're going to continue south, and we're going to end up in Rome, where we're going to spend another 2 nights. This is going to include some wonderful sightseeing I'll tell you about in a minute. We're going to continue south on this itinerary with a stop in Pompeii, of course, included sightseeing there that I'll tell you about. And then finally, this tour wraps up and ends in Sorrento with an included visit out to the island of Capri. So how does that one sound for you? A couple of things that you're going to see along the way, of course, is the must-see sights of Venice, the must-see sights of Florence, and the must-see sights of Rome, Sorrento, and everything in between. I'm flipping through a couple of pictures here on the screen. And now what I'd like to do is give you some of the details of what those inclusions are. So even though I'm talking about the Italian Tapestry Tour, for example, every time you go to Venice or every time you go to Florence or Rome or Sorrento with us, no matter which itinerary, the base VIP sightseeing that I'm going to talk about now is going to be included in the other tours as well. Some of them have different highlights, like the Verrazzano Castle, for example, and some have some other, like going out and tasting the limoncello in southern Italy. But the main VIP sightseeing in each of these cities is going to be standard across the board, okay? So welcome dinners, for example. Again, I'm just going to pretend that all of us here tonight, we are on tour together in Italy. And right from the start, we are going to be welcomed by our tour director, and we get to meet all of you. We get to get together. We have a very special welcome dinner. So difference here, and I'm going to kind of point out a few of the differences between Globus and other tour operators, because we know you have a choice. We know we're not the only one out here that operates escorted tours. And so what's the difference? Well, some of the differences are is when we start out, we like to do a welcome dinner. We take you to a local restaurant, and wine is going to be included. There's some that maybe will take you to a reception at the hotel, but we like to just start it off with a bang and have a really memorable beginning to the tour. So here's an example of Lino. He's one of our tour directors in Italy, and some of the companions that were going along on his tour. Everybody got a rose. So ladies, that's a nice way, right, to start off your vacation with a beautiful rose. And so here we are singing and enjoying the time together, and by the end of the first night, everybody's already made some friends, and it's just a great way to connect and to meet everybody. Of course, we go to a local restaurant, local specialties and flavors are served, and it's just a great way to kick it off. And a lot of the tours also have farewell dinners where, oh my goodness, our farewell dinner was another one of the most memorable things on my tour when I went with my friend Lois. And literally by the end of the night, she ended up in we were at this restaurant, and she was on a rocking chair, a little horse rocking chair with the motor coach driver. They were just having a blast. She's single, so she was loving the attention from Antonio. Anyways, there's a little personal story for you. So let me tell you about the sightseeing. Again, when you go to Venice with us, what do you want to see? You want to see St. Mark's Square and go inside the Basilica. You want to hear the story of the bridge's size as when you walk from one side to the other. It is just an incredible experience to picture. Now, this is when they were in St. Mark's Square and Basilica, and then they transferred over the bridge's side into the prison. So as they were going over the bridge, you see the window. You're looking out into the Grand Canal. You look out the window, and the legend goes that they were breathing a sigh of, I guess, probably sadness as they were going across, looking out the window for the last time before going to prison. And you get to go inside the prison. It's pretty incredible, very historic, very interesting sightseeing. Of course, for all of our Venice itineraries that overnight for 2 nights in Venice, which is the majority of our tours in the brochure, you are always going to stay on the island. What does that mean? Well, there's 2 different areas of Venice. There's the Mestra area, and then there's the island of Venice. You know, Venice is made up of all these channels and waterways, and so the way that you get to the main island and to your hotel is you actually have to take a water taxi. It's really interesting. Venice is the most unique city I think I've ever been to. It is just, I guess that's the only way I really know how to describe it, is how unique it is. And for those of you who have been there, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like canals of water everywhere, even different than Amsterdam. Very quaint, very historic, lots of great shopping. If any of you out there are shoppers, you're going to like Venice. And that's another advantage of traveling in the off-season. If any of you like to save a little bit, I went in January, for example. Hey, prices are amazing. The glass blowing demonstration, that's another thing that's included. Here's a beautiful shot, a nighttime view of St. Mark's Basilica. Again, this is going to be included. So you are going to have a chance to see both St. Mark's Square and go inside. It includes a visit inside the Basilica. You do get to walk over the bridge's sides. All of that included on your sightseeing with Globus when you travel to Venice. Here's some things that you're going to get to experience when you go to Florence with Globus. And so some of the things that you'll get to experience, for example, you'll have an inside guided visit to the Academy of Fine Arts. This is not an optional with us. We want to take you inside. You know, these are, again, what we say are the must-see sites. Some other operators might offer them as an optional excursion, but then what that means is you're going to have to pay extra to go to see some of these sites. So you get to go inside the Academy of Fine Arts, you get to walk around the museum, you hear the story of the beautiful statue of David, hear about Michelangelo and how he was inspired, you know, and you see in his hand the slingshot from, you know, his whole portrayal of the Battle of David and Goliath. And you learn about the cathedral when you visit there, and you go to Signoria Square, you go to the Santa Croce Basilica. All these things are going to be included visits and journeys. So here you can see the Basilica and the square, and of course Michelangelo's famous David. Our tour director just had some incredible stories, and again, those are the things that they really bring it to life. I can't do it justice. I'm just a trainer. I don't have the storytelling capabilities like our tour director had, but those are the benefits that you get when you travel with us. It really is an incredible opportunity. And so here's another picture of the landscape of Florence. So when you're out at your hotel, some of the hotels that we use actually have a rooftop cafe, and here is the view of the city. Isn't it gorgeous? I'm actually going to invite Rod on. Rod has traveled to Florence before, and Rod, I wanted to ask you about your impressions of the city and maybe some of your favorite sightseeing that you had a chance to see.
Well, Allie, you know, I did travel to Florence many, many years ago. When I was in college, and it's been a while, and I would love to go back. One of the highlights I do remember from somebody else, my brother actually traveled with Globus to Rome, and one story I did want to share that he said was incredible about his tour is that he was actually out there in the height of the season, the busy season, and it was around August, and it was really, really crowded, and they took the group to the Sistine Chapel. And he said when they got there, they saw this line that was about 3 hours long to get into the Sistine Chapel. And the Sistine Chapel it's in Rome. It's a very small, but it's extremely famous for the Michelangelo paintings in the Vatican. And one of the things he said was amazing was that he was whisked through and taken into the Sistine Chapel right away, without having to stand in line. So I thought that was really neat. He says they got to see it all and go inside and really not have to do that wait. So I think it's a really neat story of what Globus can do for you on these vacations.
Thanks, Rod. And, here's a picture of what Rod was just describing where you do have this private guide like his brother experienced. And, you're wearing headsets. That's another thing to note. When you are going on these sightseeing visits, some of these museums can get a little bit crowded. And so all of you will be wearing a headset. So picture I'm your guide, and I'm sharing the stories with you. You'd be wearing a headset so that you don't have to be crowded and huddled around me. You could be 20+ feet away, kind of looking at the paintings and being inspired on your own, but still hearing the commentary in your ear as you wear the headsets. So you've got the private guide. They take you inside the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel, and this is what it looks like. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. And you walk in and picture right behind the gate there. It actually is a couple of stairs. Do you see towards the bottom of the screen where there's the round circles? You come in from that door in the back and you come down through there and you walk down the steps and you're looking up, literally like in absolute amazement of, oh my goodness, this man is just incredible. What he produced and painted. And as you look up on the ceiling, it's his famous painting of the Last Judgment. It really is a beautiful, humbling experience to get to see it. Other must-see sites that are included for us in Rome that you'll get to experience, you're of course going to get to see the St. Peter's Square and Basilica. You'll also get to see the Colosseum that I talked about earlier. Before you do that, you're going to get to walk around the Roman Forum where the Roman legends, they marched in triumph, and you just picture the gladiators. And you picture what was taking place and what was going on during the times of, battle and during the times of all of the different transitions in history. And they tell you the history. They tell you the stories. And, when you're standing there at these ruins, I mean, pictures are beautiful. But I'm sure those of you who have been to Italy can agree with me. When you're standing there and you're picturing in the Colosseum, the first stadium seating. They never had stadium seating before. This is where it was invented. Or when you're in some of these destinations and you're picturing the history, it's like truly taking a step back in time. Here's another kind of wide landscape view of St. Peter's Square. You get to walk inside the square, of course, take a ton of photos if you'd like. They'll show you where the Pope comes out and does his address. And it is just a pretty magnificent experience. Continuing on with some other must-see sites, we're going to take your travelers on several of the itineraries through Pompeii on the way to Sorrento. Now, for example, on the tour that I did, Pompeii was an optional excursion. And so it was offered to those of us who wanted to take a day excursion. For some of the tours, it's an inclusion. So when you're reading through the brochure, again, your affordablettours.com consultant can explain to you what's included. Whenever it's in all capital letters, whenever you're reading through the itinerary and it appears in all caps, for example, you would see here Pompeii, and it would be highlighted for you. And so if it's in all capitalized letters like this, I'm going to highlight it here with middle highlighter, that means that it's an included sightseeing visit when it's in all caps in the brochure. Pretty easy to read. And so you're going to get to go to Pompeii, and you get to see the incredible excavations because the city was destroyed by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. And you can see Mount Vesuvius in the distance, and you can see the excavations, and it really is a pretty amazing experience. So that's going to be, again, included on a lot of our itineraries and then also offered as an optional excursion for those of you who are interested in that. Here's another look at Pompeii and some of the sites. And then we've got an inclusion to Capri. So if you choose an itinerary, when you choose an itinerary that goes to Sorrento, you will have an included journey to Capri. And you'll speed across the bay in a jet foil to the Isle of Capri. You're going to get to ride the funicular up to the village for a guided visit. You're going to have plenty of free time to explore the shops. Highly recommend the pizza. If you're looking for some incredible pizza, real traditional Italian style, check it out in southern Italy. It's pretty delicious. So you'll have plenty of time to explore. You'll get to go to the quaint shops. You're going to get to see the cliffs and the beautiful flowers. Again, depending on the time of year, it's all relative. For weather-wise, about April to October, you're going to have some really nice weather. But, if you go in the off-season is going to be November through March and the beginning of April. You're going to have some pretty incredible deals. So if you're like me, you like to save a little bit, you can go in January or some of those value season departures. You might not see, the greens and the flowers like this, but you'll have really good savings. So it all depends on what you're looking for and how you wish to spend your time and vacation dollars. I want to introduce you to an itinerary that we had new last year that has quickly become a top seller. Now, those of you who have been to Italy, remember in the beginning when I said we've got some beautiful itineraries that have been specifically designed for those of you who are looking to go back to Italy for a second time? Maybe you did the Rome, Florence, Venice itinerary before, and you're looking for something different. I would highly encourage you to look at the Northern Italy's highlights in the Cinque Terre. This is a wonderful, wonderful itinerary. Again, it's quickly become a very popular itinerary. It's a 10-day itinerary, round trip Milan. And you're going to get to go, for example, to Maranello, which is the birthplace of the Ferrari and home to the Ferrari factory. You're going to get to go to the medieval town of Lucca, for example, and you'll overnight there and have a walking tour. You're going to get to go out to Santa Margherita, which is a seaside resort. I should use my highlighter again so I can point you to where I'm talking about. So here you're going to spend 2 nights to the seaside port. You're going to go through the Cinque Terre right here, which, does anybody know what the Cinque Terre means? Basically, what it is it is 5 lands. So Cinque, 5 lands composed of 5 small villages along this beautiful rugged portion of the coast of the Italian Riviera. And we're going to take you to 4 of those lands. You are going to get to go there by sea. So we're going to take you by a boat, weather permitting. You're going to depart by train. So you can see in between here you're going to have a train ride too. So again, you have a variety of transportation on these different tours. So lots of neat things that are included. You get to go in Turin to the Holy Shroud Museum and Cathedral, so you'll get to see where that incredible, magnificent, I guess, the material, the linen that Jesus Christ wore when he was crucified. You have some pictures here in the background. This is Lino, again, one of our tour directors, who shared with me some of his pictures. And in the background, you can see the colorful buildings and the boats in the marina, really just sitting out there in the port city. And you will, again, go to the various islands by boat. So that is Northern Italy's highlights in the Cinque Terre. This one itinerary, new for 2012, has the opportunity to extend in Lake Maggiore. So up here where my highlighter is this extension to Lake Maggiore. We also are including this 3-night extension on several of the Globus itineraries, like A Taste of Italy and like Italian Highlights. So here are a couple different ideas of different tours that you can choose from. A Taste of Italy is a very popular itinerary. 2 nights Rome, 2 nights Florence, 2 nights Venice, all the must-see sites that I talked about before. You take the high-speed Eurostar train to Milan, and then you'll travel via motor coach up to Lake Maggiore for that extension if you'd like. All these extensions are operated by Monograms, the independent vacation packages operated under the Globus umbrella. And then the Italian Highlights tour over here, which, remember before when I was explaining the Verrazzano Castle in the beginning. Here you're going to get to go to the Verrazzano Castle. You're going to spend 3 nights in Rome, 3 nights in Florence. You'll get to go out to another one of my favorite Tuscan towns, San Gimignano, out to Siena, over to Pisa. You're going to do 2 nights in Venice, the island of Burano and Murano, over through Verona, and 1 night in Milan. This is the itinerary that I did in January. I think it was about 4-5 years ago now. But now what I think is really cool is you have this opportunity to extend in Lake Maggiore. So if you have the extra time, it would definitely be worth the investment in both time and money. Here's a picture of Lake Maggiore, Italy. They'll take you out on the lake. We did get to do an excursion to Lake Maggiore, so we did do an optional excursion out there. But to be able to stay there for 3 nights, Wow. Delicious food, great shopping. They take you past and show you where George Clooney's villa is up in the hillside and all the other famous actors and, I guess, famous rich people, really, I guess, that could afford a Tuscan home, or I'm sorry, a villa on Lake Maggiore. They're going to do a couple of guided excursions out on the lake and take you around. So those are some wonderful opportunities that you have operated by Monograms. So we've been talking about the northern highlights. Let's go down to the other part of Italy now and look at the highlights of Sicily and southern Italy. Now again, those of you who have been to Italy before, here's another great opportunity for you. Unless you already did this on your first time, then some of the other itineraries would be perfect for you. Another really popular itinerary and top-selling itinerary for us is the highlights of Sicily and southern Italy. Follow with me on my little highlighter here as we walk through this itinerary. 2 nights in Rome. You'll go down here through Naples. Spend 2 nights in Sorrento, included sightseeing out to Pompeii, included sightseeing out to Naples. You'll go out to the Isle of Capri. That is included. And then after our 2 nights in Sorrento, we'll go over into Matera, another gorgeous area. We'll go down the Italian boot to Reggio Calabria. I'm not Italian, so I don't have very good Italian speaking skills, so forgive me if you know how to say these better than I do. You'll hop over to Sicily and to the Taormina area. Agrigento, Palermo is where you will end. Palermo is where you will end on this itinerary. So let me show you now a couple of pictures. This is actually this town here. I'm having an echo. Rod, can you hear the echo?
I cannot hear it.
Okay, good. Maybe it's just on my phone then. Sorry about that. So we have this beautiful city here that we take your clients to, and they're going to spend 2 nights. This town is significant for a couple of different things. First of all, it's all been excavated. It was completely regenerated, restored, and excavated hundreds of, I don't know the exact dates, I'm going to be careful on that. But the other thing that it's popular and well known for is this is where the Passion of the Christ, if any of you saw that movie, that's where that movie was filmed, is here in this city. So it's iconic for that. Taormina, you get to go to the Colosseum and amphitheater there. Sorrento is another opportunity that you have for journeys that end in Rome. You can do a 3-night stay and jump out to Sorrento. So Italy's great cities, a wonderful itinerary I introduced you to briefly before, and the Italian treasures, another itinerary that features that Verrazzano Castle and a night over in Lucca. This one are 2 itineraries that you have a chance to extend in Sorrento. Again, these extensions are operated by Monograms, so you take the Eurostar high-speed train from Rome to Sorrento. The great thing about Monograms is you always have a local host with you to help you offer suggestions on sightseeing. They'll make sure that you get on the right train at the right time, headed in the right direction. They're absolutely wonderful and a very value add for you traveling with Monograms. So 3 nights in Sorrento, 2 extensions on Italy's great cities and Italian treasures if you're looking into going to the southern Italy destination. Here's a couple of other options you have. We also have a couple of itineraries that feature an extension in Sicily. So on Italy's great cities and the Italian mosaic, which this itinerary we often recommend if you've never been to Italy before. The Italian mosaic is another one of our traveler favorites, one of our top 5 in our entire portfolio. It's very popular for those of you who have a little bit longer, 16 days including air. So if you have the time for this itinerary, 2 nights Rome, 2 nights Florence, you get up into Lake Maggiore for 2 nights, Venice, 2 nights Assisi, and down to Sorrento. You can extend here in Sicily if you're interested. So if you have all that time to explore, which we hope you do, that'd be a great choice. Italy's great cities is a great itinerary for those of you who, maybe don't have as much time, but it is a wonderful itinerary, another one of our top sellers because of the length of the vacation. So we'd highly recommend this vacation. It is actually, I have to update this, it's actually an 8-day itinerary, and Oh, that was with the extension, so that's why I had that in there. It's regularly an 8-day itinerary, but it is an 11-day itinerary once you add on the Sicily extension. So it's another thing that you might want to keep in mind. 8 days priced from $18.89 or 11 days priced from $28.56. So it just depends if you're going to do the 8 days or it depends if you're going to do the 11 days, and that's kind of how the pricing works. But again, all of this can be explained to you by your AffordableTours.com travel consultants. So the Italian Mosaic is an itinerary that is a, let me just make sure I get that right. Let me consult with my brochure. And it is 16 days if you add on the Sicily extension. But otherwise, if you're just looking to do the base core package of the Italian Mosaic, you're going to see that it's a little bit shorter. It's a 13-day itinerary. So that's how that works. What else can I show you? Here's another beautiful itinerary that we introduced new into the portfolio last year that, again, quickly becoming a top seller, and that's Umbria's Treasures. Here is a chance. This is what one of the tour directors told me about this tour. He said, Allie, if you're looking to go somewhere that's relatively unexplored, Umbria is the place. He said it is just a hidden jewel and treasure. It's not as touristy as some of the other areas. The food, he said, is absolutely spectacular. You spend 5 nights in Assisi and you get to go out to all of these incredible towns surrounding it. Orvieto, here pictured on your screen. I mean, look at that. Hillside town. Look at the mountains in the background. I love these quaint little villages that are so tucked in to the heart of these destinations where literally you're walking along cobblestone. You definitely want to bring your tennies. Definitely bring tennis shoes. If you do have a cane, you know, feel free. Don't let that stop you. Just walk a little bit slower. That's the nice thing about having those headsets is you don't feel left out. You can go at your pace and you still have those headsets so you're hearing everything. One of the inclusions that's a really nice feature is the dinner at the hotel that you stay in Assisi. So pictured here on your screen is one of the Globus groups who are enjoying this beautiful courtyard setting at the hotel where they're going to have an included dinner with wine. That's all included. And then here is a view from the hotel. Literally, you can hear the singing of the monks or the singing of the bells of the cathedral. You can hear the just, I guess, the peace of the city as you stare out your hotel and you look across into the cathedral. I haven't been there personally, but I've heard it is a wonderful hotel. It's the Subasio Hotel, and again, very centrally located. Here's a look outside the window of the hotel overlooking into the cathedral there. The second to last itinerary I'm going to take you through real quick because I know we're almost out of time is the family vacation Ciao Italia. 2 nights Rome, 2 nights Montecatini just outside of Florence, and 2 nights in Venice. Our family vacations are catered to the family, of course. What does that mean? We have family-friendly activities built into the itineraries. It's families traveling with other families. Certainly, if you've got kids or grandkids and you want to go with them, take them on any of the Italian vacations. But if you're really looking for an itinerary that focuses on what the kids are going to look forward to, and if you have kids who want to travel with other kids, we recommend this beautifully planned itinerary where you get to make a mask, for example, in Venice. You're going to taste gelato and have a pizza party in Florence. You're going to get to do a picture with the gladiator outside the Colosseum, for example. So we do have child pricing available. There are child discounts, but on this one particular family vacation, there is pricing called out in the brochure for adults and then for the kids. If you're looking to explore the lands of Catholicism, we have the Grand Catholic Italy Tour, which is 3 nights Rome, 3 nights Assisi, 2 nights Florence, and then 2 nights in Venice. All of the must-see sites, once again, of these places are going to be included. You're going to get to go to the Catacombs, St. John Lateran Basilica, the Holy Stairs, St. Mary Major Basilica. I mean, the list goes on and on. You'll celebrate Mass in Assisi. If you're interested in traveling with your own church or congregation and you had a priest or a pastor who you wanted to travel with, we could certainly arrange these things for your own private group and to have private Mass for you. you know, the opportunities, again, are endless. Just talk to affordabletours.com, and they can assist you and tell you what can be done and what you can see. Again, here's that beautiful picture in Assisi, and here's some other pictures of the highlights on this itinerary that you'll get to experience. Remember in the beginning I talked about why Globus, and we talked about how Globus offers you more. In terms of the hotels, we always use first-class hotels and better. So either first class, superior first class, or deluxe accommodations. And here's an example of that. In Tuscany, the first photo up here to the top left is the hotel in Tuscany, an excellent first-class property. In Rome, the superior first-class hotel is the Cicerone, and in Venice, the San Clemente Palace Hotel and Resort right on the Grand Lagoon. So it is an absolute wonderful experience. Beautiful hotels used throughout the itineraries. We've got travelers saying that they can't wait to go again. In fact, 85% of clients who travel with Globus, 85% say that they're going to travel again. I hope for those of you who are attended tonight and have been with Globus before, I certainly hope that you feel the same way, and we would love to welcome you on your next journey. In fact, if you've ever traveled with the Globus family of brands before, be sure that you let your affordabletours.com travel consultant know that you need to get registered for the Journeys Club. It's our discount for repeat travelers where you can save an additional 5% off. So you definitely want to make sure that you, if you've traveled with Globus before, you sign up for the Journeys Club. If you've never traveled with us before, hey, that's okay. Travel with us the first time, then sign up for the Journeys Club. And if you've been with Monograms before, remember, we're all one family under one roof, the Globus family of brands. We have a book early and save 10% discount. We have a second tour discount. So if you want to take 2 Globus tours back to back, maybe you want to do Italy's great cities and Umbria's treasures, for example. On that second Globus tour, you'll get a 5% discount. Big savings for small groups. If you travel with 5, 6, or 7, you're going to get another 5% off. Young traveler discounts, 5%. Triple room reduction. You save when 3 or more go together as well. Brand new in 2012 is your ability to add on and pre-book optional excursions. So, for example, the Burano Lagoon Cruise with lunch is a very, very popular excursion. It's this cute, quaint little fishing island off the coast of Venice, Burano, and then lunch is included. That would be something that I would highly recommend. It's an optional excursion, but the cool new thing is that starting in January, affordabletours.com will be able to pre-book these optional excursions for you. So we hope that you have found something tonight that whetted your appetite. And we would love to offer you a promotion, $800 off on an air-inclusive Italy or Spain vacation right now for 2012. So again, contact affordabletours.com. Rod, I'm going to turn it back over to you to share your exclusive offers, and we'll announce the winner of the $250 travel credit. Thank you, Rod. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Allie. That was so incredible, and it was very, very great presentation. Those pictures were amazing, and now I'm really, really interested in some of these tours now. So thank you so much. I hope everybody else feels the same way because it was really fantastic. Just wanted to let everybody know about some of the exclusive offers that we talked about and that Allie talked about. And this year it's great because Globus has, and she showed you their offers. You know, they have a pay early and get 10% off. Repeat travelers get 5% off. So they have some great promotions out there. They have the early booking promotions that are available right now. On top of all that, when you book with affordabletours.com, you get 10% additional off on top of the Globus offers. So that starts really adding up and really bringing down the cost of your vacation so that you can maybe get that extra extension into Sicily that looked really great. Also, it's a bonus for everybody participating in tonight's event. Just mention the event to your affordabletours.com consultant, and you will get an additional $50 off per booking on top of the 10% off and the Globus offer. So, you know, with touring in particular in Globus, booking early is definitely the way to get the best deal because the early booking discounts start happening now in you know, October, November. For the next season. So, and also the airfares is when they're actually the cheapest. So this is the best time to book if you know you're going to be wanting to go in the summer or in the fall. And I think the fall is a fantastic time to travel to Italy. The weather is great. There is less crowds, and also the pricing can be a little bit better than in the summer. So all of that is something to think about. And as we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, we have a grand prize drawing of $250 travel credit for a Globus tour to one of tonight's attendees. And I think that Ali is randomly looking for that person. And here we go. Congratulations, Hannah Mathura. You've won the $250 travel credit, and that credit can be used in any Globus vacations, I believe, for a year. Is that correct, Ali?
Sounds good to me. It's whatever you want.
Okay. Well, then that,
sure.
that sounds good. Great. And to claim the prize, please, I think we will send you an email. We have your email address for the for your registration, and we'll go ahead and send you an email as to how to claim the prize. For everybody else, we thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We hope you enjoyed it. We will be having more of these presentations in the future with Globus to highlight and feature some of their other things that they offer. So thanks again. Please be on the lookout in the future. And ciao. We hope to see you in Italy. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Rod. I'm just going to ask one final question to those of you who are still on, and if you could please let us know if you would like to receive an Italy brochure, and that way Rod and his team knows that they can get one out to you in the mail right away. So you can go ahead and vote here now on your screen. Yep, you'd like a brochure, or maybe you're not interested at this time. So go ahead and give a quick vote for that. If you had any questions, I know, Rod, a couple of questions came in. If we could take those real quick.
Sure. And Ali, just one thing about the brochure. For the people that say yes, if we have their email address and we do not have their address in our database system, we will have to email them and ask for the address to mail the brochure. So just please be aware of that. You know, we don't have everyone's address, physical address, to mail a brochure in every case. So if you say yes, you know, please be on the lookout for an email where we'll let you know, or you can let us know your address. And as always, you can always call into our offices at affordabletours.com, and our travel consultants are more than happy to mail you any brochure to any destination that you would like to see. And yeah, Ali, if you want to go with those questions, we'll go ahead and try to get them answered.
Okay, great. Let's see here. Ed, you had a question about packages that have 3 or 4 night stays in Venice, Florence, Rome, Amalfi area, and maybe a night in Milan. So I would highly recommend that you look at that itinerary that I talked about that I did a couple of years ago, which was, let me pull it up, I don't want to say the wrong name, it was called something different when I took it. It does Italian treasures. That's the one that you might want to look at, but I would look at the Italian highlights. So when you get the brochure, look at page 22, 23, and it has 3 night stay in Rome, 3 night stay in Florence. You get out to Tuscany, 2 nights in Venice. That's one that you can add. It does have a night in Milan as well, and then you could add on to that with the Lake Maggiore. We also have packages, Ed, that you might want.
Ali, if I may break in, one thing I would recommend for Ed is also if you go to our website and you go to the advanced search in our website, you can actually put in all the cities in our advanced search that you would like to visit. Click search, and it will come back with tours that go to each and every one of those cities. So that's a great way to find tours that go to the particular cities or countries that you're trying to visit.
Oh, Rod, that is awesome. Perfect. Okay, let's see here. Other questions. When will the brochure be available? Rod?
The brochure will be mailed to you very soon. As soon as we get all the information tabulated, hopefully early next week we can get all the information tabulated, and we will put them in the mail for you. They do go, snail mail. It does take about 3 to 7 days for them to arrive in the homes once we put them in the mail.
Sure. Okay. Another question came out. Can you guys book air from Canada?
I believe we can, and but I'm not 100% sure. And if you call our office and speak with an AffordableTours.com representative, I'm fairly certain we can do that for you. But they will let you know for sure.
Okay. Jean wanted to know typically how much time is spent traveling from one city to another. Jean, that's a really good question, and honestly, it depends on the itinerary. For example, when you're traveling from Rome to Florence, it's a little bit longer of a drive. So typically what they'll do is you won't ever be on the coach longer than 3 hours, so that they will do a break for you. So there are emergency bathrooms or washrooms on the motor coach, but they will make stops. So you can stretch your legs, get something to drink or eat, or, just a short 20-minute break, and then have a chance to go to the bathroom. But, other times it's relatively close, and there's some, where you're traveling by high-speed train or the Eurostar in between. So it really just depends on the itinerary. But, again, AffordableTours.com travel consultants can help you kind of figure out the logistics of the itineraries.
And, one of the things I would recommend to that is always look at the itinerary, because if you have a lot you have to see, well, then it's inevitable. Sometimes you got to get these longer rides. But some of the itineraries that Allie was showing, for example, the northern Italy, those drive times seemed very, very short. And so if that's something that's an issue for you, then you can look at a more regionalized, localized tour that's going to go to several places but have shorter rides.
Great. Deborah wanted to know average age group on the trips. Deborah, average age is 57 for Globus. That's, average across the board. Typically, you're going to be looking at the majority being 45 to 65. There's a great mix of singles. There's 30-year-olds. There's kids that are, usually every group is going to have a family. Usually every group, there's some single travelers. So it's a wide range. Average age is going to be the baby boomer population. Let's see. Karen asked about, are there many tours that are active for exercise fanatics that exercise fanatics would enjoy? Karen, you'll love Italy. The reason is there's tons of walking if you want to. There's walking like here, pictured here in this screen in Florence. So there's so much walking that can be done when you are on your own and in your free time. And so many of these cities are hillside cities. So if you are an exercise person, like my husband, he's a personal trainer, so he'd be all over this with you, Karen. You can run up the hills, you can run up the cobblestone streets, you can bike ride, you can, a lot of these towns you have plenty of free time. You could rent a bike and you can explore the Tuscan hillside if you'd like. You can walk, you can run, so absolutely if you're active, you will be having a great time as well. If you're not as active, hey, that's what's great about being able to sit out on these beautiful hotel patios and get to overlook the cities as well. Sit in a cafe, enjoy a cappuccino or a delicious gelato, you'll be great.
Allie, we just to sort of interrupt, but we sent my father-in-law to Italy, and he came back, and he went to the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, and he said, I think I figured out why they call it the Uffizi Gallery. He said, because after you've seen it all, your feet hurt. So there's certainly plenty walking if you want to do it.
Right. I love that. Okay. Jean said that her kids are 17 and 15. Should they go on the family trip or the regular ones? Jean, that's a hard question. I think it's completely up to you. I would recommend looking at that itinerary, Ciao Italia. It's a wonderful itinerary. Your kids will travel with other kids, but at that age, 17 and 15, I'm sure they're very mature and would be great to travel on any of the vacations. So I would look at the whole portfolio, Jean, and decide which itinerary your family likes most. And I know that your kids at those ages will be wowed by Italy. So I don't think you could go wrong with those ages. Rod, feel free to interrupt me at any time or if you have anything else to add. Nancy wants to know the best weather month to travel in Italy. According to the tour director who I just talked with last week, he said September is absolutely gorgeous. Do we have single tours available? Wendy, yes, singles can travel on any of the itineraries and pay that single supplement. So there aren't specific tours just for singles, but every tour is going to have solo or single travelers on it, so you'll fit right in.
And I do believe, do you still have the room share option with Cosmos?
Yeah,
okay,
good point.
Great. So if you don't want to pay a single supplement, you can share a room with another single traveler of the same sex. So they'll match you up. If you're a woman traveler, they'll match you up with a woman traveler, and that's a good way to avoid the single supplement.
Yeah, and as Rod mentioned, that's on our Cosmos portfolio. So we've been talking about Globus, but we also have escorted vacations with Cosmos, that brand, and Rod can tell you more about that when you call in. Rod, I think those are all the questions. I apologize if I missed any of them, but again, contact affordablettours.com. You can see their website here on your screen. You can call their consultants. They're ready to assist you if there's any further questions that you have. Rod, anything else?
No, I think that's everything. Thank you again, everyone, for attending.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Rod.
Okay, take care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.